Hi everyone, today I wanted to do my best and worst books I've read in 2017. So it's quite a pile I have, so I have about 11 books that I put on my best list. I wanted to do 10, but I just couldn't narrow it down. So I have 11, and then I have 3 books that were, for me, the worst. Yeah, so let's get going. So the first 3 books that I have on my best list, these are books that just, for lack of a better phrase, are very memorable to me. Some books might not be on everyone's best list this year, but for me they were memorable. So the first one was When Dimple Met Rishi. This is a story by Sananda Menon. And it's about a girl who wants to break into the tech industry. So she goes to a conference, and unbeknownst to her, her parents kind of have an arranged marriage thinking for her, and they send the boy to the same conference as her, and they meet. And hilarity ensues. But it was so cute, so fun, and I can't wait for her next book that's coming out. This one was also memorable for me because I got to meet the author and go to a book signing for it. So that's why it's one of my favorites of this year. Yeah. So the first 3 books actually are debut authors. So another debut author is Carnivale by Stephanie Garber. I also got to meet her, which was really, really, really fun. And she's really nice. And the story just kind of sucks you in. Carnivale is a story of 2 sisters. And one of them, on the brink of becoming married, gets her sister to go to Carnivale, which is this special type of circus. But you're only invited it's by invitation only. So her and her sister go, her sister gets kidnapped, her sister disappears, so she kind of has to find her. But Carnivale is so mysterious, she doesn't know what is reality and what is not. So it was really good. So Carnivale by Stephanie Garber. The next one is also a debut author, and it is Geek Guerrilla by Ashley Paulston. This book made me smile, and every time I think of it, I just have to smile. It's about a girl named Elle, and she's very nerdy, and they are going to do a movie reboot of one of her favorite TV shows, and she does not like the casting. But unbeknownst to her, she starts texting the lead in the show, and it's kind of like You Got Mail, kind of Cinderella, geeky, and it's just so cute. This is one of my favorites. It's probably one of my top 3 favorites, but definitely gets on this list. So I've probably talked about it a couple times. But Geek Guerrilla by Ashley Paulston. Magical, geeky, so I liked it. So those were the 3 debut novels that I just really liked, and I can't wait to read what the authors write next. I've been getting into sci-fi books, so the next couple are kind of sci-fis that I really, really enjoyed. The first one is Invictus by Ryan Guardian. This is a story about a boy named Faraway. And it's almost kind of like Firefly, where him and his cousin, a couple friends, are on these time-traveling spaceships. And they steal artifacts from different time periods. So they could go to ancient Rome and steal an artifact. They could go to the 1920s and steal something. So they're on a mission to steal something from the Titanic when they notice that someone is like a step ahead of them. Getting the artifact, so they have to find out who, and it was just such a good time-traveling story. If you are fans of Firefly or Doctor Who, you will definitely like this one. There's adventure, there's bits of romance, so cute. I really like this one. So, Invictus. The next one is another sci-fi one. It's Warcross by Marie Lu. I really like this one. I got to meet Marie Lu, which was really fun. And this is a story of Amika Chen. And this is a world where everyone is into this game called Warcross. So you put these glasses on, and you get into the game, and you can get points, you can do a ton of stuff. If you want to pretend you are having lunch with a celebrity, you can pretend you're having lunch with a celebrity. But there's these kind of Olympic games of Warcross, and she accidentally blips herself into there, and blips herself out, and she's like, "Uh-oh, what did I do?" But the creator of this Warcross game contacts her and says, "Hey, I have a job for you." So it's her getting into the Warcross game, and there's twists and turns, and Marie Lu is really good at world building. So I think that's one of the reasons why I really like this one. So, Marie Lu Warcross. Just really liked it. The other one, maybe one of my favorite sci-fi ones, it's Illumination. It's a thick book, but it's really fast to get through. This is written by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff, and this is a story of two people, Katie, and her planet has been attacked. So she kind of has to find out why it was attacked and like who was behind the attack. And the only person who can help her is her kind of ex-boyfriend, Ezra. And they kind of have to find out what happened. And the whole story is told through emails, through surveillance footages, through texts. So it's fast-paced, sucks you in. It was just really good. So, Illuminate. So, yeah. This is probably one of my top ones, too. And my next one is not sci-fi, but it's very fantasy, very funny. It's My Lady Jane. This is probably, again, one of my top ones. It's the story of Lady Jane Grey. She's personally one of my favorite characters in history. And the authors, Cynthia Head, Bodie Ashton, and Jodi Meadows, kind of turn history on its head and give her a kind of happy ending so she doesn't have to lose her head. But it's really good, really funny, and it's just a retelling of history of Lady Jane Grey. They are coming out with another book of a retelling of Jane Eyre, and I can't wait for that one. So yeah, so this one. The next one is part of a series that was just it just drew me in, and this author's become one of my favorite authors this past couple years, and it's Cress by Marissa Mayer. I really love the Lunar Chronicle series, and I think Cress is probably one of my favorite of the books. This is kind of retelling of Rapunzel, and I think the reason why it's one of my favorites is because of Captain Thorne. He is just such a funny character. It's kind of like Han Solo, Prince Charming put together. Or Captain Hook put together. It was just really good. And her retellings of fairy tales are just really well written. So, Cress by Marissa Mayer. The next one is a classic, and it's Anne of Green Gables. I think my mom has read this story to me when I was little, but I read it again this year, and I'm really glad that I did, because I forgot how much I loved Anne of Green Gables. And the writing was just so good, and the characters are so vivid, and you can get into their minds, and it was just really good. It's by L.M. Montgomery, and it's just about this girl. She has red hair. She gets adopted by this kind of older couple, and she starts just getting integrated into their lives, and she just has this very very unique outlook on the world, which is just fun to watch, and her making friends and stuff like that. So, Anne of Green Gables. So the last two, I was kind of having trouble which one I should have in this stack of books, because I wanted to do 10, but I couldn't decide, so I'm going to have them both in, because I like them for different reasons. And the first one is Richard Adams' Watership Down. This was a really good book, and the writing just kind of makes you want to know more. This is a story about rabbits and their quest for freedom. It's if you could get Lord of the Rings but played by rabbits, this is what you would get. There is adventure, there is mayhem, there is blood and guts and fighting and drama, and a little bit of romance, so it pulls you in. So Watership Down by Richard Adams. I was surprised I liked it as much as I did. So yeah, a rabbit adventure. And the last book is First Impressions by Charlie Lovett. Now, this book might not be the best written. I honestly don't know how much I like the main character, but this book really has in it a love of books. And once I read it, it kind of reinforced my love of books, and my love of pretty books, and my love of manuscripts, and my love of authors. So it kind of just brought that all together. This is a story of a girl named Sophie, and she kind of finds these kind of clues that maybe Jane Austen did not write Pride and Prejudice. So she kind of goes on a little quest to find out if Jane Austen wrote it or not. And it kind of goes back and forth between Jane Austen's time and our time. I really liked the storyline of our time rather than Jane Austen's time, because I really don't think the portrayal of Jane Austen in her time was that accurate, but that's just me. But I really liked the modern time and just her view on books. So once I read it, I was like, yes, that's like me. That's what I feel. So that's why this one was one of my favorites. So those are the books that I really, really enjoyed this year. Now, it's time for 3 that I did not enjoy. So, the first one is A Tale as Old as Time by Liz Braswell. This is a retelling of Beauty and the Beast. I love Beauty and the Beast, and I really, really wanted to like this book. It's kind of more a retelling of the Disney version of Beauty and the Beast, but just the way she wrote in the ending, it made me feel like I wasted my time. The characters were not really true to any version of Beauty and the Beast that I kind of saw. I mean, definitely not the Disney version. And the ending was just so not magical and happy, which was what it's supposed to be. And I kind of wanted to like this book so I could read the rest of the books in the series, because I think she has one of, like, Maleficent and Jafar. So I thought that would have been really fun to kind of have these Disney villains, start reading these books on these Disney villains, but I just did not like how this one ended, so I don't think I'm going to be reading any more of the series, because it was very disappointing. The next one is The Jane Austen Project by Kathleen Flynn. I wish I did not read this book. It's about a girl who time travels back to Jane Austen's time to recover a manuscript of The Watsons, which is one of Jane Austen's books that she did not complete before she died. And so I read the premise and I was so excited. I'm like, oh, I had just finished reading The Watsons and I'm like, oh, this is great. You know, what if Jane Austen had completed it? But the story, the main character was just so not likable in my opinion. I just kind of like wanted to get away from her. I even stopped reading this for like a week or so because I just couldn't get through it. She puts her own modern opinions on other people and expects them just to take it. And it's like, no, people have their own opinions. Don't put your own opinions on other people. And you're time traveling. You can't do that. So I just did not like it. And the ending was just made you kind of have a little, like, sick stone in the bottom of your stomach when you finish. It's like, ugh, I wasted all my time. So I did not like this book. And the last book that I did not like this year, a lot of people are not going to agree with me on this. And it's Clockwork Princess by Cassandra Clare. And this is the third book in the Infernal Devices series. I really like the first two books in the series, so Clockwork Prince and Clockwork Angel. And I was excited to see where this goes because I know she has another series, Shadowhunters. I'm like, okay, if I like this series, you know, I'm gonna finish it and go on to the other series. And I just didn't like what she did with the character development in this book. So throughout the first couple books, you get to know the three main characters, Jem, Tessa, and Will. And they're kind of just really close friends, but there's kind of a love triangle between them. And in the previous book, Tessa had gotten engaged to Jem, but stuff happens and she breaks off her engagement and then marries Will. But the way it was written was like Will was just a placeholder until Jem could come back. And even throughout Tessa's marriage with Will, she still's meeting Jem. It just was weird. And I was like, you know, if, let's say, a parent did that, would their kids be okay with that? And I'm like, no, if my parent did that, I would not be okay with that. So I just did not like how she concluded the triangle between Tessa, Will, and Jem. Because I really, really, really liked Will. And it was just like he was just a placeholder until she could be with Jem. I mean, I didn't like that. My only consolation is that Jem hopefully will die. So, we'll see. Anyway, I don't mean to be that hard on this book, but I just did not like the ending. So anyway, those were the books that I liked, and a couple that I did not like this year. Which were some of your favorites? Let me know in the comments below. Which were some that you did not like? Let me know in the comments below. And I hope you like this video. Like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks. Bye.